Buongiorno a tutti e benvenuti a Coffee Break Italian. Io sono Mark.
Salve a tutti, io sono Francesca.
Come stai, Francesca?
Sto benissimo, Mark, grazie. E tu con quel bell'albero di Natale alle spalle?
Sì, un po'
Che
festivo.
bello.
I wanted to be a little festive today, so yeah, the Christmas tree's up behind us. Now, just a little message saying Francesca is echoey, so let me see why that is.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to switch off something. Francesca, can you say something for us?
sì, di nuovo buongiorno a tutti, spero che stiate bene, ok?
I think we've sorted it, so I think we're good. Buongiorno a tutti.
Ok.
We're delighted to be back with another episode of Coffee Break Italian. We have got our clock counting down. We've got 4 minutes to go before our lesson begins. That gives us enough time to explain what's happening today, to say hello to you, and then to get started. So, today, Francesca, what are we doing?
Today we are going to do translations.
Okay, translations. Similar to what we did back earlier in the year when we had a number of translations, we're going all from English into Italian this time. So you're going to be translating from English into Italian. Now, there's no real need for a wee jotter or a piece of paper today or anything like that because you can post your answers in the comments. So as you do your translations, you can simply post your answers in the comments and we will read some of them out and talk about your translations, your versions of what you've seen. So looking forward to this, let us have a little look to see who all is here today. Lots of you joining us. We have
Vediamo.
Paul. Can you see these, Francesca? Just double checking.
Sì,
You can.
certo, certo.
Okay, so we've got Paul from Herefordshire. Buongiorno, Paul. Abbiamo anche Christopher.
Ciao Christopher, sto imparando da 3 anni. Il mio progresso è lento, ma continuo a provare a migliorare. Bravo, piano piano si va lontano.
Esatto, pian piano, pian piano. Okay, we've got Sarah who's in Woking. Buongiorno, Sarah. Abbiamo anche Judith. Buongiorno, Judith.
E Anna Kucharska, ciao a tutti, sono Anna da St. Andrews. Ciao Anna.
Buongiorno Anna, buongiorno anche a Barbara, buongiorno a Edimburgo.
Veronica, sono Veronica. Wow, dal Libano, che meraviglia. Ciao Veronica.
Benissimo. Dinah's here, buongiorno Dinah. Abbiamo anche Chris, buongiorno. Let's see who else.
Oh, Joyce, greetings from Varese, near Milan. I'm working here now, helping an Italian family with their children. Thank goodness for CBI. Wow, che bella esperienza, Joyce. Complimenti.
Complimenti. We have Sue joining us from Rochdale. Chris is in Adrich, Rossendale. I love the word Drich.
Bellissima.
How would you translate Drich in Italian, Francesca?
Oh, non è traducibile, è una parola troppo scozzese.
Una parola scozzese, troppo scozzese.
Troppo
Um,
scozzese.
Drich means when it's a little bit damp, wet, not very nice weather. Drich, a great word. I love the
Yeah,
word.
maybe uggioso in Italian. It's a nice word.
Say that again.
Uggioso.
Buggioso.
Uggioso.
Uggioso.
UGGI.
Okay, I like it. Who else do we have? We've got Michelle joining us. Good morning to you, Michelle. I'm saying good morning. It may be good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are, Michelle. We know definitely that it's morning for Brian in Guruk. Buongiorno, Brian, and it's very grey in Guruk, just like it is here too. Francesca, we're doing some translations now. Any particular tips for our listeners when they're thinking about translations?
First of all, remember there is not a right or wrong answer when we are doing translations. So be a little bit creative. And if you don't know a specific word or if you're not too sure, always think of an alternative option. There is always a plan B when you are translating.
Certo, I like that. Always a plan B for translation, yeah. So, yeah, as Francesca said, there's never just one right answer. And sometimes if you can't quite get the technical thing that we're looking for, a particular grammatical construction that we're looking for, there is a way around it. You can simplify it, you can say it in more words and explain things more. There's always a way around it. Our clock is almost at 0. That means we need to get ready to start. So we are going to be running this for 20 minutes. We've got 4 translations. We'll look at the translation each time and then talk about it and then also share your answers. Ma cominciamo?
Cominciamo, mettiamoci al lavoro.
Okay. Just as we get started, Margaret's asking, c'è una parola per plan A e plan B in italiano?
Piano A e piano B.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry about that. We'll get straight into our first translation. So, again, going from English into Italian, what we would like you to translate is Veronica is a tall and very pretty girl. Okay? Now, this is, we're going to be getting more difficult as time goes on. So, some of these are quite tricky today. Starting, hopefully, this isn't too bad. Veronica is a tall and very pretty girl. So we're going to give you 20 seconds. Hopefully my timer will work here. I'm not sure where it'll come on the screen, but let's see, 20 seconds. It came too high on the screen. Not to worry, I'll take that off. We've got some timer music anyway. 20 seconds for this. Veronica is a tall and very pretty girl. So just pop that in the comments. Okay, so we're talking about Veronica and we're saying that she is tall and very pretty. Now, we need to think first of all about adjective agreements because Veronica is obviously feminine and therefore we need feminine adjectives here. So, Francesca, will we translate this first, then we'll look at some of our viewers' answers.
Ok, allora vediamo la traduzione prima.
Okay. What we've put here is, Francesca, you read it out, that makes more sense.
Sì, Veronica è una ragazza alta e molto carina.
Benissimo. So we've got Veronica è una ragazza alta. Alta agreeing with ragazza because it's the feminine form of that adjective. È molto carina. Carina being pretty. Now, carina, would it be okay to see bella?
Sì, bella, assolutamente, perfetto. Una ragazza alta e molto bella.
Okay, so let's see what you all wrote. Let me see if I can roll back here. We've got Michelle who said, Veronica è una ragazza alta e bella. That
Benissimo.
works. Okay. Barbara, Veronica è una ragazza, just watch that, alta e carina. Benissimo. Margaret saying, Veronica è una ragazza alta e molto bella.
Perfetto, Margaret.
Okay. Dinah, Veronica è una ragazza alta e, which I think Dinah possibly learned Spanish as well, so è molto carina. Buonissimo. Let me see what else we've got. Most of the answers are all coming in correct.
Bravi.
Judith is using a different word, graziosa. Can we use that?
Sì, graziosa, è un bellissimo aggettivo, graziosa. Significa nice, pretty, not just in terms of appearance, look, but also manners or someone with a nice smile. So it includes like an overall very positive, nice impression of someone also kind.
Good, excellent. Now, Judith has used a different word order there, putting alta and graziosa before the noun. Does that work, Francesca?
In Italian, it's better normally, with exceptions, but normally it's better if we have the noun first, followed by the adjectives. It's more natural in Italian in terms of word order.
Okay, so Veronica è una ragazza alta e molto carina. Carina o graziosa o bellissima.
Sì.
Many possibilities. Good. Okay, it's time to move on to our second translation here. This is a little more complex. Let's have a look. So again, you may have noticed that what we're focusing on today is adjectives and adjective agreements. Here we'd like you to translate, these shoes are too big, but those ones are too expensive. Okay, so we're going to give you some time to think of this one. Let's just put our timer on here. So 20 seconds. These shoes are too big, but those ones are too expensive. Okay, so we've got something a little more complex in here because we're talking about those ones. And when we see one with that one, this one, these ones, those ones, then we're looking for a pronoun, a demonstrative pronoun. So those in Italian aren't too complicated because they're very similar, in fact, almost identical to the demonstrative
The
adjectives.
adjectives.
Okay, so let's see what our official translation for this one would be.
Vediamo. Queste scarpe sono troppo grandi, ma quelle sono troppo costose.
Benissimo. Okay, so these shoes, queste scarpe. Remember, this is questo, questa, these, questi, queste. And we're talking about scarpe. Scarpe are feminine plural. These shoes are too big. Sono troppi grandi. Okay. But, those ones, quelle, because quelle stands for those ones, sono troppo costose. Now,
Molto
Francesca,
bene.
there's a lot going on with these adjectives. Tell us about these adjective endings here.
Sì, you're probably wondering why we're saying grandi and then costose. The reason why we have two different endings is because the adjective grande belong to the so-called two ending adjectives. So there is only one ending for the singular, which is grande, and one ending for the plural, which is grandi. And it doesn't matter if the word is masculine or feminine. While costose comes from costoso, which is a four ending adjective. So there are four different endings: costoso, costosa for the singular, and costosi, costose for the plural. And in this case, we want the feminine plural, costose.
Okay, there's a lot going on there on the screen. I've tried to put all these on the screen here, but hopefully that helps. We've got grande singular, grandi plural, and then for costoso, all four endings are available for that one. So that's what's going on there with grande and grandi. But there's something else that we need to think of here. And I see in our answers that a number of our viewers have got, lots of you have got this right. Some of you have made a mistake which is very, very, very common when you're learning Italian. And I hope nobody minds me sort of giving an example of this mistake. But I think this we will all learn. So let's look at what Chris wrote.
Queste scarpe sono troppe grandi, ma quelle sono troppe costose. Sì. So it's very important, and I know this is not easy, so it's okay to make this mistake. It's really a common mistake among learners, so worry not. But whenever you have an adjective preceded by words like troppo, tanto, molto, poco, if these words are before an adjective, then they remain invariable. So it means they have their masculine singular form: troppo, poco, tanto, molto. This is because technically they are adverbs, and as such they don't change. While if we have these words in front of nouns, then they need agreements. If we were to say too many shoes, then it would be okay to say troppe scarpe, but too many shoes, too expensive. Troppe scarpe, troppo costose.
Okay, so troppe scarpe, too many shoes, but troppo scarpe, troppo costose would be too
Esatto.
many, too expensive shoes.
Sì.
It's complicated, and yeah, it's absolutely, it's a very, very common mistake. So don't worry if you did not quite get that one right with the troppe. Many of you did. We've got Michelle saying here, queste scarpe sono troppo grandi, ma quei almost, sono troppo cari. Could we say cari? Or care for the...
Care, sì, care, costose, sì, they're synonyms, so either or, they're both correct.
Good. Joyce, almost perfect there. Just
Queste scarpe sono troppo grandi, ma quelle sono troppo care. So again, we need that agreement there with the adjective. Well done.
Yeah, it's tricky stuff, this. I'm just looking through our listeners, our responses here. We've got Brian, questi scarpe sono troppo grandi, ma quelli sono troppo costose. So you've got the troppo right, just a few
Sì.
little things to tidy up. I think with something like this, there are so many variables that it's tricky to get everything right. So well done, everyone. And Chris is saying about the troppo. I make that mistake all the time.
If it helps, think of the difference in English you have between a lot, many, and the word very. So you would say very happy, but a lot of friends. You wouldn't say very friends. So it's the same logic behind.
This one, absolutely. Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next translation. So again, we're taking things a little further this time. Let's see what we've got now. So number 3, on Sundays, my cousin Sergio buys fresh roses for his darling wife. Ah, che romantico.
Oh, sì.
Okay, we'll give you 30 seconds for this one. Okay, now this is quite tricky.
Sì.
Let's talk about it. On Sundays. Now, when we're saying on Sundays, we don't actually need a word for on in English, do we?
In English or in Italian?
We obviously need a word for on in English. So. In Italian, yes, Francesca.
No, but we convey the same idea of repetition by simply using the definite article la in this case or il for the other days of the week.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got on Sundays, la domenica. My cousin. Now, is my cousin a blood relative? Is it someone close?
Sì, sì, sì. It's a family member, a fully fledged family member.
So we would just say mio cugino,
Sì.
Sergio, and he compra
Sì.
fresh roses. Now, in Italian, I think we need to. Well, do we need to say some fresh roses, or can we just say fresh roses?
We can just say fresh roses, but it's okay to add the word for some. So we could also say delle.
So delle or just rose, then fresche.
Bravo.
So we've got the word fresco, meaning fresh, and then we need to think about how that plural is spelled because we're talking about le rose, feminine plural. We can't say Fresce because that would be fresche. So we need to make it fresche with an H in there. So rose fresche per. Now, it's his darling wife. Now, his darling wife is a close relative, a family member. However, we're talking about his. It's not my. So we would say la sua moglie for his wife. And it's his darling wife. So could we say per la sua cara moglie?
Bravissimo, Mark, per la sua cara moglie.
So
Sì.
there is our answer. La domenica mio cugino Sergio compra rose rosse per la sua cara moglie. You read it, Francesca, in your perfect Italian accent.
La domenica mio cugino Sergio compra rose rosse per la sua cara moglie.
Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Paul is coming up with la domenica mio cugino Sergio compra I fiori freschi per la sua cara moglie. Okay, I think I always think autocorrect plays havoc with things when we're doing answers in the comments, but I think that's where you've gone wrong there. So we could use fiori freschi.
Sì, this is what we were saying before. If you cannot think of the word roses in Italian, think of the general word flowers, fiori. That's okay. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's better than nothing. It's a good effort indeed.
Indeed, perfect. Okay, let me see. Ilse is saying...
La domenica mio cugino Sergio compra delle rose fresche, don't forget the H that Mark has just mentioned, fresche, per sua moglie carina, ok? So we need the article again per la sua moglie carina, although carina is more like pretty in terms of look. It's the adjective we used before. Here is more like dear, darling, so per la sua cara moglie.
Perfetto. Okay, Dinah hasn't used la domenica. If we said domenica, does that have a different meaning?
It's just a specific Sunday, so it's probably last Sunday, or no, this
Sunday
coming Sunday, because we're using the simple present.
Indeed. Excellent. Okay. Good stuff. The roses have turned red. I'm not quite sure what's happening in the comments, but people are talking about the roses are turning red.
Oh,
and
yeah, it
fresh.
should be fresche.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Sorry, what?
Yeah, right enough. Yeah, they're red roses, rose rosse, but there should be fresh roses. So rose fresche. That must be my problem. Sorry.
Sorry.
Chris is saying, I thought you didn't use the definite article with close relatives. Francesca, can you explain that a little?
What's the question? I thought you didn't use the definite article with. Yes, you're right, Chris. We don't use the definite article like we are saying mio cugino Sergio. And without the adjective darling, we would say per sua moglie. However, whenever we, let's say, modify the family member we are using, then we need to include the definite article. For example, if we were to say for his son, per suo figlio, for his little son, then we would need the article per il suo piccolo figlio, per il suo giovane figlio, or even if we modify the noun itself, for example, for her hubby, per il suo maritino. So whenever the family member is modified, then we must include the definite article.
Benissimo. And a good question, Chris. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Gave us the chance to explain it. Okay, we've got just time to do our final translation, and this is our trickiest one, I would definitely say. Our translation is, I would like to wear a pair of long blue earrings for Elena's party. Okay, I would like to wear a pair of long blue earrings for Elena's party. Oh. It's covering up, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I would like to wear a pair of long blue earrings for Elena's party. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's all going wrong today. Let me take that off. There we go. Okay, so I think what we'll do is bring our Italian onto the screen. Francesca, can you talk us through this?
Sì, allora vorrei indossare, I would like to wear. We have the conditional vorrei, which is always followed by an infinitive. Vorrei indossare a pair, un paio, a pair of, un paio di. Then we need the noun, earrings, orecchini, a tricky word. Make sure you have spelled the word correctly with a double C and an H, orecchini. Then we have long, lunghi. So let's think of the singular adjective lungo, and we want to keep that g hard sound going, and we do that by adding the H again, so lunghi. And then we have the adjective blue, which is blue in Italian, just spelled a little bit differently. And be careful, the adjective blue does not change in Italian. So there is no masculine, feminine, singular, plural. It's an invariable adjective. So don't worry about adding the ending for masculine plural here. It's just blue with any word you use it with. And finally, for Elena's party, literally for the party of Elena in Italian, or Elena, per la festa di Elena.
Perfetto. You were on the spot there, Francesca, to get that all finished and your explanation finished before the clock reached 0. Well done for that. So yeah, just a couple of things I'm seeing in the comments. Obviously, we're doing this very quickly, this last one, but we've got some alternatives for indossare. Can we use anything else there?
Sì, we can say mettere. Vorrei mettere. Sì.
Okay, and what about azzurre or azzurri for blue?
See, colors are always a little bit different in different languages. Azzurro, it's more like a light blue, while blue, it's probably darker. So I know in English and in Italian, colors don't always correspond, but azzurro, it's much lighter than blue. So we would probably have to see the color itself to define it in Italian.
Excellent. And indeed, there are some languages where blue and green are the one colour. So it's fascinating. Anyway, that is us for this episode, this lesson. Thank you for contributing, for posting your comments and your tries of the different translations. What we would always love to know, as ever, is if you've enjoyed this. Let us know if there's something that you've learned, something that you didn't know before we started today, and that's always what we try to do to help you move on from where you were to somewhere new. Hopefully everyone has picked up something new in this short session on translation. This is it's a series. We're doing different types of activities. We've been doing translations. We've been doing listening texts, reading texts, dictations, pronunciation, lots of different things over the past few months. And we have been doing this to try to see what works best. So we'd love to have your thoughts on that. And what we're also planning to do is a little survey on Facebook. So asking you which of the particular types of live lessons you are enjoying the most, so that we know what to continue with next time. Which live lessons does Fergus like most, Francesca?
I think he's looking forward to the listening the listening next time.
So next time.
I'm sorry.
Non c'è male. No, it's always nice to hear Fergus. What we also wanted to tell you is that next week we're back. We'll be doing an extra lesson next week for our final lesson before Christmas. So we have got a lesson next week on Tuesday at 3:30. So that is Tuesday the 15th at 3:30 in the afternoon UK time. So for our Australian and New Zealand friends and anyone else over that side of the world, you can watch the replay, obviously. And for those of you who are in bed at the moment and watching this later, then you'll be very welcome to join us live next Tuesday at 3:30 in the afternoon for a festive listening challenge. Let's have a look at what you've been saying. So Chris is saying, grazie come sempre, imparo qualcosa nuova sempre. Eccellente. Barbara is saying, very useful. Anna felt things were too fast for her this time. Sorry about that. Margaret saying, excellent as ever. Joyce, so many new things to revise, adjective endings with 2 or 4 possibilities. Good. Sam, very interesting and learned lots. Thank you from Australia. Chris is commenting on Fergus's name, very Italian name. I love it. I think we've lost you, Francesca. We can't hear you anymore. You're very quiet. I don't know whether the thing with the microphone has happened again. But don't worry, we're finishing off anyway, okay? Thank you, all of you, for joining us live this morning. We always enjoy doing these, and we hope that you enjoy watching them and learn something from them. We'll be back next week with, as I say, a festive listening session. Until then, grazie mille e arrivederci. Ciao, grazie Francesca.